Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chasing Joy podcast. Now this week I am really excited to start this episode because I feel like after releasing my first one, I am now really able to dive into some interesting topics. And this week's episode is about addressing a looming problem which I'm sure everyone must experience. It is, how can you actually feel proud of your accomplishments? And I think one of the best ways is by writing a letter to future you. Now, one fact I've always loved about being human is our ability to think about our past, present, and future. A few years ago, I read Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, and he talks about Ernest Becker's denial of death concept and how we have two selves, our physical self and our conceptual self. He says that humans are unique in that we're the only animals that can conceptualize and think about ourselves abstractly, e.g., worrying about the future, past, and what others think of them. As humans, we're blessed with the ability to imagine ourselves in hypothetical situations, to contemplate the past and future, and to imagine other realities or situations where things might be different. Being able to use this abstract thinking has helped in problem solving and coming up with great ideas and innovations. It has also kept ourselves safe from dangerous situations, but on the other side of this coin, this can become detrimental to how we perceive what we've done, compare, criticize, and feel like we've fallen short of the expectations that we set on ourselves. So what is one way that we can use this abstract thinking for the better and to actually be satisfied with ourselves and what we have achieved? I think writing a letter is one of the highest forms of self-care, and this is my story as to how I got to this idea in the first place and how I think this can help you as well. Now, around this time, 3 years ago, I went on a summer exchange in Barcelona, and for one of the assignments in my class, we had to keep a journal of our daily reflections, and this took my hobby of journaling to a whole nother level. But on this particular day, July 19th, I journaled about how I felt really low about myself because my boyfriend at the time made a comment about when we first started dating, he didn't think I was his type, and as a woman, that really hurt to hear. And to be quite honest, this comment made me start to question my whole appearance, my self-esteem, my ideas of beauty. And being surrounded by very slim, tanned, and beautiful women in Barcelona did not help at all. And I walked around the city that day feeling quite horrible about myself, and inevitably the script in my brain succumbed to quite negative views of me and my looks. But after visiting some shops and seeing if anything could make me feel better, like a drink or a cute pair of jeans, I started to feel like I was tired about how I was talking to myself, and I wanted that to change. So I had this sudden idea to write a letter to my future self. Maybe because I knew what I wanted to hear, and that advice could only come from me. On July 19th, 2022, I wrote to myself. There was this idea about what would happen if it turned long distance and if I'm planning on moving or working in different countries. The more I think about it, the more that idea appeals to me. I'm eager to find myself, whatever that means. I've heard as well that you don't find yourself, but rather you uncover, unwrap and disassemble all these layers that have told you who to be and what you should do. People who have a grounded sense in their identity are attractive. They attract good energy and good things. The last thing I want is to be a stranger to myself. I want to be confident and unapologetic for being me. I am really thankful to have this time and opportunity to reflect on myself and get away from everything and everyone. I feel like I have returned to this raw version of myself in light of a new environment. I really don't know what my future will look like, where I'm exactly heading, and it's scary. Even more terrifying when surrounded by this pressure to have everything figured out when I simply don't. Later that day, I decided to write the letter to my future self, and I wrote, "Dear future Joy, when you read this, I sincerely hope you are happy with who you are and where you're at in life. I know it can be difficult to feel satisfied with your accomplishments and aim to achieve and be more. But can I just say, you are great exactly as you are and at every stage of your evolvement. As I write this, you are sitting in a beautiful green cafe courtyard on a hot sunny day in the Raval neighborhood of Barcelona. I am living my best life. Our best life. I am 21 years old in my 4th year of university with barely any clue as to what I want to do after graduation. It has become more frequent now to be asked about the future, and if I'm to be completely honest with you, I'm terrified. I don't have the answers yet, so I'm writing this letter to check in with you in the next few years or so. In rereading this letter, I hope you have gained some experience or direction, which undoubtedly you have, and all of it will be valuable. I hope you have learnt what's important to you and not important to you. I also hope you are kind and patient with yourself. What is making me feel confident right now is the thought that things will unfold and present itself to me at the right time. As cliche as it sounds, stick to your intuition and follow joy. In one of the classes here in Barcelona, you wrote that your personal motto was to keep improving for yourself and enjoy the process. What a shame it would be to stray away from that path. Right now, I value risk, excitement, curiosity, and learning. Those values may look the same or different in the future, but may you never compromise happiness. May you continue to do things with love, and may you keep being a light that is infectious and hard to ignore. I wish you all my best, and I'm looking forward to where we'll go. With love, past Joy. Now, I rediscovered this letter later last year when I was going through a really rough patch and also rereading it while I was thinking about this episode. And I thought of 7 reasons as to why writing this letter to future me really benefited the way that I thought about my past accomplishments and how I can feel satisfied about them. Now, the first reason is that it identifies the changes in your way of thinking and how you have developed in your character. Second, it also identifies what hasn't changed and what values continue to stick with you and may even be uncompromisable. Third, it eliminates the need to compare yourself with others and see them as competition, because at the end of the day, you're really just comparing yourself with yourself. Fourth, it captures a genuine reflection of emotions and feelings associated with that time, which can easily be forgotten if they're not actually documented, and it allows yourself to attach memories, places, people, and things and their meanings to you. Fifth, it grants gratitude for your accomplishments and it takes into full consideration what has gotten you there today. 6, it sparks a productive and healthy way of how you can plan your future rather than just focusing on the negative and being very degrading where it doesn't get you anywhere. 7th, it gives you authority over your own self-esteem, confidence, and comfort. And most importantly, this doesn't allow you to have dependency on others. I really like this reason because it proves to yourself that you are more in control than you think about your psychological state and how you feel about yourself, and you don't need to rely on others for that reassurance and that confidence that you're doing okay. Those are my 7 reasons, and this activity is something that I would strongly recommend for everyone to do because it just takes 10 minutes, and whether you want to address yourself in a year's time, 3 years time, 10 years time, you can just write one and it is going to benefit you in the long term. Now, some points to consider when writing a letter to your future self and what you can include. You can talk about what you're going through right now. You can describe where you physically are as you're writing the letter so that when you reread it, it becomes a more immersive experience. Third, you can talk about what you're proud of yourself for, thinking back to maybe new things that you've tried or picturing how you were a year ago. What were your goals then? Have you made any progress? Have those goals changed? And what has become more important to you over time and has taken priority over everything else? You can also talk about what you wouldn't change about you and what you've done. You can talk about what are you worried about in the future. And you can also think about what you would say to a friend who needed comfort and then direct that sort of energy back to you, because we tend to be more harsh on ourselves rather than we are with others. And lastly, I also think it is a really great touch if you put this letter in an envelope or you decorate it with stamps and you just put it in a safe place where you'll know that later down the line, when you're going through a really tough time or you start to feel a little ungrateful about maybe your job or your relationships or your own personal growth, to go back on this because it allows you to feel content about your circumstances rather than to compare. Now, after you've written this letter, it is good to know that day by day, it can be very easy for us to forget how we feel in certain moments or how certain situations situations have really impacted us in the short or long term. It is impossible for us to remember everything. Like, I know I barely remember what I did yesterday or what I ate for lunch, but when you reread this in the future, you have a physical copy of those fleeting moments and emotions that can really be worth holding on to and learning a lesson from it. One of the quotes that I really like by Sigmund Freud, who was an Austrian neurologist, he said that one day in retrospect, the years of struggle would strike you as the most beautiful. And when we are going through these challenging times, you can put yourself in the driver's seat by providing your own confidence and your own reassurance and writing this letter. So I hope that in sharing my story as to how I came about the idea of writing this letter to my future self, what pushed me to do it, and the 7 reasons as to why I found this so beneficial in feeling really proud about my accomplishments, helps you as well. And that you can take away something, whether it's writing your own letter or just learning a little bit more about me. Now, that is all for this week's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.